probably have heard that your body naturally produces vitamin D when your skin is exposed to sunlight. It's like the process of photosynthesis in plants. Imagine for a second how cool it would be if we could get all our nutritional needs by hanging out in the sun. You've also been told you should limit your sun exposure and use sunscreen to avoid premature aging and skin cancer due to ultraviolet radiation damage, right? So what in the world are you supposed to do, really? Well, today I'll tell you everything you need to know to make the right choices. As you know, I am a pharmacist who struggled to find skincare products that worked for me. You know, products that have black and brown skin in mind. I searched around the world, literally, and got a lot of experience through the process, and now I'm sharing those lessons with you. I'm also cooking wonderful products that have your issues in mind. Trust me, you will feel seen and understood. Stay tuned. Give this video a thumbs up if you find it useful. I would also appreciate it if you consider subscribing so you can get notifications about new videos in the future. So, vitamin D, which is also known as the sunshine vitamin, is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's very important in the development and maintenance of bone density through its effects on parathyroid hormone, calcium, and phosphorus homeostasis. Vitamin D occurs in two main forms: ergocalciferol, commonly known as vitamin D2, produced by plants, and cholecalciferol, commonly known as vitamin D3, derived from animal-based foods. I want you to remember here, we are also in the animal kingdom and produce our own vitamin D3. So you can supplement your vitamin D needs by using vitamin D2 from plants and vitamin D3 from animal sources. Foods that contain vitamin D include salmon, sardines, cod liver oil, canned tuna, egg yolks, wild mushroom, and every fortified food you can think of, from orange juice to cereals. Both of the vitamin D forms end up in the same active form in the body. Some do argue the quality of D3 is superior than D2, but that's looking things under the microscope and debatable. Fortified foods we buy oftentimes have D3 added to them as opposed to D2, so you really don't have to obsess about differences here, to be honest. We get more than 90% of our vitamin D need from the precursor 7-dihydrocholesterol through the chitinase production, which is promoted by sunlight. I'm sure you've heard that before. When a photon of ultraviolet light type B, UVB radiation, hits the skin, a series of events happen to form cholecalciferol, which eventually converts to the active form calcitriol, with the help of our kidneys, of course. From there on, it's used by the body or stored if it's in excess because it's a nonpolar molecule. A similar process takes place in plants where UVB light leads to the formation of vitamin D2 from ergocalciferol, a compound found in plant oils. Vitamin D can also be obtained through over-the-counter multivitamins or vitamin D supplements or prescription supplements, as you already know. According to the National Institute of Health, the average adult should aim for 600 international units per day in their diet. 4,000 international units or 100 micrograms is the safe upper limit. Now, let's zoom in and have a closer look at topical formulations that contain vitamin D. Topical vitamin D was first approved for the treatment of psoriasis. In psoriatic lesions, keratinocytes proliferate and mature at an extremely fast rate, leading to incomplete terminal differentiation. Studies have found that vitamin D analogs contribute to the normalization of keratinocyte hyperproliferation. You find 0.005% ointment that contains calcipotriene, a synthetic form of vitamin D under brand name Dovonix, and calcitriol, 3 microgram per gram under the brand name Vecticol. Vitamin D is known for its anti-inflammatory and anti-aging activities, its protection against environmental aggressors, its help in epidermal barrier renewal. It also regulates keratinocyte proliferation and differentiation. It controls angiogenesis, immune regulation, and apoptosis. It also plays a crucial role in defense against opportunistic infections. And recent research are establishing a firmer link between vitamin D levels and acne and other inflammatory skin conditions such as eczema. If you have well-balanced diet or take supplements that have vitamin D orally, should you bother using topical vitamin D? Well, A team of researchers in Saudi Arabia conducted a research on 550 patients with vitamin D deficiency, otherwise healthy individuals. The patients were randomized into two groups of 315 study arm and 200 in control arm. Participants were instructed to maintain their normal lives and not to change their dietary habits or sunlight exposure. Patients in the study group were given 1 gram 500,000 international unit topical vitamin D3 gel to apply daily on the skin. The control group was given 1 gram of aloe vera gel to be applied every day. All the participants in both groups had no knowledge of whether they were given vitamin D or aloe vera. After 4 months, the vitamin D users showed elevated vitamin D3, which was above the threshold of 30 nanogram per milliliter. So yes, it could be of great importance to use over-the-counter vitamin D creams if you have acne, eczema, and obviously psoriasis. But if you don't have inflammatory conditions, I probably won't go out of my way to add it to my skincare routine. So the question is, should you expose yourself to sun to produce enough vitamin D or not? Well, the short answer is no, you shouldn't. You should always apply sunscreen and protect yourself from UV radiation. Let's say you really don't go out because of COVID, like now. Well, in that case, you can supplement through nutrition or over-the-counter supplements. That's the more productive way of getting your vitamin D. The truth is, most people don't even apply enough sunscreen to begin with. Check this video out where I demonstrate what an adequate amount of sunscreen should look like and ask yourself if that's you on an everyday basis. It's worth mentioning that research show Caucasian and Asian individuals have significantly higher levels of D3 versus African American or East Indian individuals. There is 2 to 9 times higher prevalence of low vitamin D in the African American population compared to Caucasians. That's because melanin blocks a certain amount of UV, right? That means skin pigmentation and serum vitamin D levels are inversely related. The darker you are, the less your vitamin D levels. So those of us who are rich in melanin would have to hang out in the sun longer than Caucasian individuals to cook vitamin D. But that's not very wise, is it? So it's probably a good idea to shift focus to a nutritional source of D3 than the sun. You guys, this is not an exhaustive information because there are a lot of medical conditions that might make you produce less vitamin D or absorb it. My focus is on the skin aspect here, so I want to make sure that's clear. If you decide it's for you and want to use it, just make sure you don't combine it with low pH products such as glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, or salicylic acid because the acidic pH has been shown to inactivate topical vitamin D. That's it for today. I'll catch you next week. Take care, my friend.